The last debate in Quincy's mayoral race was held at Quincy High School Thursday night. It was the last of 3 Patriot Ledger-sponsored debates. Mayor William Phelan and his rival Tom Koch took questions from a news panel, Patriot Ledger readers, and each other.
I ask that you vote for me for mayor so that we can continue to build on the accomplishments that we've made together over the past 6 years. We took a city that was in such fiscal chaos that the state had refused to certify its tax rate, the largest multi-million-dollar deficit in city history, and we turned it around. We put our fiscal house in order, and on that strong fiscal foundation, we've been able to build. We've built a better school system with full-day kindergarten, early literacy programs, and smaller class sizes. We're building the finest school in the state. And because our finances are in order, we've managed to hold the line on property taxes. In the city of Quincy, our taxes have increased less than every single city in the state for the last 3 years running. And the FBI statistics indicate that we're the second safest city in the state. But I don't ask for your vote because of the accomplishments of the past. I ask for your support because of what we need to accomplish for the future in order to provide homeowners with long-term property tax release. We need to expand our property tax base with new businesses and new development. That's why we're moving forward with our plan to develop downtown Quincy and Crown Colony. That will mean more fiscal stability, more jobs, and a better future for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Chazzy. Thank you to QATV for televising this. I'm running for mayor because I believe we can do better for Quincy. I've witnessed 6 years of failed leadership on issue after issue. School construction projects. We've lost tens of millions of dollars because of incompetence. Taxes are up 27% over a 6-year period. Budget's up $42 million while services are going down. Our drug overdose rate is 60% above the state average. Property crime was up 20% last year, and we have turmoil at our police department. Traffic is out of control. My guess is Eileen is in Quincy somewhere, but can't reach this place because of the gridlock we have in this city. Overdevelopment in our neighborhoods is affecting every neighborhood, and there's been no plan. The mayor's been silent on these issues. I'm running because we need to do better long-term planning. I will provide the leadership necessary with the oversight of our school construction projects. They're out of control now. We have put forth plans to rezone our neighborhoods, to protect the character of those neighborhoods. We have a plan for traffic, and I will address the issues at the police station, the turmoil that is happening now. All of these issues cry for leadership. I will provide that leadership, and I look forward to tonight's discussions on the issues. Thank you.
Question for Mr. Koch.
The debate was heated at times.
One of the main things of this campaign has been the charge that you are going to bring the insiders back. How do you answer the charge that you are an insider and that you will bring Quincy back to some of the problems of the former administrations?
It's really silly how my opponent has continued to talk about that. You know, the son-in-law of the clerk magistrate, brother-in-law of the state rep, well connected. The fact is, he wouldn't be mayor if he wasn't son-in-law of Arthur Tobin. So let's, and silly argument. The fact of the matter is, we're talking about issues in this campaign. We're going to continue to talk about these issues. We're going to continue to talk about plans for the future. This election is about the future. We need a traffic plan for the city. We need a plan to control overdevelopment in the city. We need leadership on crime and drugs in the city. We have a drug problem in the city that this mayor continues not to acknowledge. It's devastating families across the city, and we're going to provide the leadership to tackle that issue. It's all about leadership. We've seen 6 years of lack of leadership in many areas. I'm going to bring the leadership necessary to tackle these issues.
Well, I love my father-in-law, and actually I love my wife even more. But let me tell you about the inside. I'm not talking about dedicated public servants. I'm talking about people who erased hard drives to the computers, people who broke into City Hall, people who benefited from illegal contracts that the city gave out under the former administration, These are the insiders that we have to keep out of City Hall. My opponent, Mr. Koch.
Please talk about how the diversifying population is changing the city of Quincy.
Sure. I live in a street in North Quincy, Newbury Avenue, a street I grew up on, bought a house on there, street 17 years ago. And about a third of my street now is immigrants, Chinese, mostly of Chinese immigration. Wonderful people. I've met some great people that are now friends of mine. From what I've heard in the campaign trail, and in fact I heard at a senior complex the other night, an older Asian gentleman asked for more English classes for seniors in the senior buildings. And I thought that was a great idea. If we can provide more English classes for our Asian population, I think that's so much better, more productive for them to assimilate as Americans. In the end,
I think that we have to do more to outreach to the Asian population. In fact, one of the most beneficial aspects of our city government over the last 10 or 12 years is the diversification of our population. I'm proud to say that we've reached out in terms of our workforce, asked for a civil service list of Cantonese-speaking and Mandarin-speaking police officers, and we hired 2 Mandarin or Cantonese-speaking police officers. We actually touched base with an employment agency in Chinatown to try to attract. Oh, excuse me.
Mr. Koch, a question from Mr. Phelan.
Mayor, the high school today is going to cost us $46 million more than your plan just 3 years ago. And right now we have no funding for Central Middle School or Sterling, funding that was in place when you took office. And we have the head of the Department of Education and the head of the School Building Authority saying one thing, you saying another. As an attorney, Mayor, isn't the written word more binding than the spoken word?
I don't know. It depends on whose word it is, I suppose, and who did the writing, Tom. But the fact of the matter is I am so proud of the fact that we're going to have the finest high school for our citizens in the future. Not a high school that costs less, that was built on a toxic waste dump, and I mean a toxic waste dump, folks. But a high school in the heart of our city that we can be proud of for years to come. You failed to stand up for our taxpayers and stop the spending of taxpayers' money at the Four River Shipyard. My question is, why didn't you stand up for our taxpayers back then?
Mayor, I was the park commissioner, I believe, when the shipyard deal was going on. The federal government, the state government, local communities signed on to that project. I had no involvement in the shipyard deal. I stood up to you January 23rd of this year because I believe you have not been standing up for the taxpayers of the city. That's why I resigned, that's why I'm in this race. The high school project, you talk about a record deficit of $5 million you inherited. You bonded it. It was the high school, it was the hospital monies. You took it and you bonded it, you put it on the city credit card, made it go away. That's not leadership. Tens of millions of dollars on the school projects. $46 million more from your plan just 3 years ago. You were going to deliver the high school on Baxton Field, the wetland. That's what you talked about. That was the choice that you made, your first choice, Baxton Field, and you failed to get it done. I stood up to you, and I'm going to let the people of the city know how you have failed the taxpayers of the city on the school projects.
You were the top aide at the time, not the park commissioner, and it seems as though you'd like to take credit for each and every one of the successes of every mayor that you've served under, but you don't accept responsibility for those things that went awry, and I wonder why. That's not leadership, Tom.
Elections will be held Tuesday, November 6th. This is Jessica Torres-Riley for the Patriot Ledger.